This video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.
What's good, Commanders fans, and happy Victory Monday. Today's live stream is brought to you by BetUS. I just want to celebrate with you guys. I know it was an ugly win, but a win is a win is a win. A historical win to win 7 out of 7 field goals by Austin Siebert, a.k.a. Austin the Cyborg. He should be named Special Teams Player of the Week for sure. Undefeated in the division. We finally beat Daniel Jones. We beat Kayvon Thibodeau after talking. Kayvon Thibodeau kind of was talking trash a little bit, not much, but we beat Daniel Jones 5-2, and we're 2-1-5 against Daniel Jones. So we finally beat Daniel Jones. Thank goodness again. And I love seeing Brian Dable throw down the iPad or the tablet, getting pissed off. I love seeing that emotion from Brian Dable. I love seeing that so much. Love with a passion. Always enjoy being the NFC East opponent in the Giants. So you got to take any win that you can get. But that it was a tough win. Fought it out. Their kicker went down, Graham Gano, so I get it. If their kicker was there, they would have kicked extra points instead. They would have kicked a field goal instead of Malik. Shout out to Malik Neighbors for that drop, though. Malik Neighbors had a heck of a game, but he had hands like a snake at the end of the game and dropped a pass. So we'll get into everything. I do want to go over studs and duds. Was not able to make a studs and duds video today, so I'll just go live with you guys, talk about studs and duds, PFF grades, maybe some of the things that Dan Quinn talked about today. I know he talked about Jamin Davis being inactive. Derek Forrest's dad was not happy that Derek Forrest was inactive, so he went on Twitter, had Twitter fingers, and I think Derek Forrest should get out there. I think honestly he would be better than Jeremy Chin. So maybe we'll talk about some guys that need to play more and the guys that need to sit, or make a video about that. Yes, Jordan Wickline. He said he did not hear Kayvon Thibodeau's name once yesterday. So, yes, thank goodness. Charles Lano was not blocking him. So we had some other guys like Cornelius Lucas and Brandon Coleman blocking him, and he ended up with 0 sacks. Brian Burns, if I'm not mistaken, he had 0 sacks. So that was awesome. I love seeing that, even though we did get sacked 5 times. But their 2 main guys had 0 sacks. Dexter Lawrence, look at his numbers. Dexter Lawrence had 0 sacks. 0 sacks. Tyler Biadasz does a great job against Dexter Lawrence. And that's one thing that did carry over from Tyler Biadasz being with the Cowboys. Dan Quinn does a great job against the Cowboys. So whatever it is, I'll take it. I'll take anyone that we can get, guys. Undefeated at Northwest Stadium as well. So we start the trend. And Jaden Daniels undefeated at Northwest Stadium. Dan Quinn undefeated at Northwest Stadium as well. Dan Quinn with the backwards hat undefeated as well at Northwest Stadium. So I love seeing that for sure. Shout out a couple people in the chat real quick. I know I was on CP time, was supposed to start at 7:30, but starting at 7:43. I do want to get done with the stream because I know you guys want to watch Monday Night Football. Hopefully the Eagles lose tonight, which they probably will not because Kirk Cousins is terrible on Monday Night Football. But I'll shout out a couple people in the chat real quick. Shout out to my guy Devin Kearney, man. That's family, man. Shout out to him. He was first in the chat. Shout out to my guy Devin, man. He's a good guy, great person for sure. That's family right there, man. Huge Commanders fan, man. We talk ball all the time when I see him for sure. We talk about Wizards too. Anything DMV sports, we talk about all the time when I see him for sure. Mark, what's up, man? He says, I'm interested to hear what the experts think of Brandon Coleman at left tackle. If we can get quarterback and left tackle solved in this draft, we have some hope going forward. So, speaking of Brandon Coleman, I'm gonna look up some of his snaps. Now, the whole offensive line, I thought they did an okay job. They weren't terrible. I mean, they did give up 5 sacks. But Jaden, he just helps the offensive line out a lot because he can move. You know, he's such a mobile quarterback. You know, look at the 3rd and 10 that he had where he made something shake and got a first down. Even the 3rd and 10 where he had a negative play where he escaped. He made a Houdini move, and Bobby Okereke, I think, had him. Or no, I forgot who had him wrapped up, but he slipped away, and then Bobby Okereke had the late hit on him, where he was out of bounds and they didn't throw the flag on their own house. That was ridiculous. But the point is that Jaden, he makes the offensive line better because, he could just, he can make something happen, make something shake. But I do want to look at the snap count for Brandon Coleman here versus Cornelius Lucas. Looking at some of the snaps here. So Brandon Coleman had 22 snaps. Cornelius Lucas had 50 snaps. So Brandon Coleman had 31% of the snaps while Cornelius Lucas had 69% of the snaps. So, and then Brandon Coleman, I know he got hurt. He got banged up a little bit. I feel like he was taken out like a couple moments because he got banged up. So they're still doing this kind of sharing snaps and whatnot, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but I get he's trying to ease Brandon Coleman in because Brandon Coleman Didn't play in any of the preseason games. He didn't play in any of the joint practices. So I get why Dan Quinn's doing it. And Cornelius Lucas, he's done an okay job. Like the first game, I know he did give up a sack. He gave up a sack fumble, but he graded out pretty well in the first game against the Buccaneers. I know, he wasn't pretty on tape, but he did a solid job for the most part. I thought the offensive line did an okay job in the first game. In the second game, they were solid. They were okay. They weren't terrible. We've seen some really bad offensive lines in the past couple of years. I think they've been better than what we've seen from the offensive line last year. I'll say that so far. G-Man, what's up, man? He said, what's going on, everybody? Tim Farrell, what's up, man? Mark says a win. That's what's going on. So, like I said, I'll take it, man. I'll take it. Left hand up and all that. I'll take it because the Giants have beaten us in ugly fashion before. The Sunday night football game where they bear hug Curtis Samuel. That was terrible. And then the ref called the flag on Terry saying he was offsides, and that was ridiculous. And Terry even looked at the ref, was like, okay, gave him the okay, and the refs gave him the okay. And the ref threw the flag, and so there's been times our battles have been kind of odd. Us and the Giants, we've had some really weird games, like the Sunday night football game and the Thursday night football game that we won, where Dexter Lawrence jumped off sides, and they called a flag on him where our kicker missed the kick, and then he re-kicked it after the penalty he made it. So there's been some crazy battles. Darius Slayton dropped that 2-point conversion. That really helped us out. Malik Neighbors dropping the 4th and 4. Their kicker, Graham Gano, getting injured. Like, I don't know if we win that game, guys, if Graham Gano doesn't get injured. And that's a fact. I mean, because they would have approached a lot of things differently. They wouldn't have kept going for it on 4th down. And then on our side, we just kept kicking ourselves in the foot with the penalties. Like, we got to clean that up. There were way too many false starts. Illegal shifts or whatever. Ben Sinnott had a false start in the red zone where we were going to go for it on 4th down, and then Ben Sinnott had a false start, and Jaden Daniels was visibly upset. Then Nick Allegretti has a false start, and then Sam Cosmi has a false start in the red zone. Sam Cosmi turns around to Jaden Daniels, and he's visibly upset. So I don't know if it's the communication between Jaden and the offensive line, or I don't know where the blame pie chart goes with the red zone. So they got to clean that up. But they did a good job getting into the red zone. They just got to finish. They got to finish drives. So I thought we got a better game from Cliff today. Yesterday, a lot of people are giving Cliff a hard time, but I like some of the things that Cliff did. I love the pass from Jaden where he went one way and then he threw it to Austin Eckler the other way. He did a Magic Johnson. He hit and then threw it that way. So I did like that. That was probably the best play of the day, or play call really, from Cliff Kingsbury. And then the 3rd and 13 where Austin Eckler converted. And then there was a third. There was like a third. No, there was a 2nd and 14. There was a 3rd and 14 where we ran the ball and Austin Eckler got it all the way up to make it like a 4th and 1 or something like that. That was a really good play call by Cliff Kingsbury too. I do want to see the vertical game open up. I think that last drive by Jaden was awesome. That was awesome. That was a big drive by a rookie. And you look at him compared to the other rookies, like Caleb Williams has been struggling. Bo Nix has been struggling. They've been throwing interceptions, getting sacked over and over. And you even looking at a sophomore like Bryce Young, who got benched. Somebody commented about Bryce Young. Bryce Young just got benched. Danny Dimes, yes, he should be benched as well. Even though Danny Dimes, I'm not going to call him no Danny Dimes ever in my life. But yes, Daniel Jones, he probably will be benched sooner or later. But he had a good game. I'm not going to lie to you. He had a good game because our secondary is so bad. Malik Neighbors had 10 catches. Malik Neighbors could have had 12, 13 catches, honestly. And Daniel Jones missed them a couple times too. And that's just how bad our secondary is. And we finally got ballers like Ben St. Juste finally punched the ball out, got a turnover. But other than that, ball has not been light for this defense. We have not been violent. I do think Joe Witt Jr. Definitely has some room for improvement. I mean, you can say that about everybody on the defense. But, yeah, Daniel Jones, he could be hanging out with Bryce Young pretty soon. He probably will. I could see him being benched for Drew Lock or Tommy DeVito by game 8. You look at the Giants' schedule too. They got a pretty tough schedule, coming up. So, and once again, I do love seeing the Cowboys getting blown out like that in their house. And they play the Ravens next week. I just saw that they play the Ravens, and that's going to be a very tough game. It's in Dallas, and the Ravens are 0-2. So this is a do or die game really for the Ravens. The Ravens, I don't think I've seen the Ravens ever start out 0-3 in a long time. If they ever have in their franchise history. But let's get back to the Commanders, of course. Slat says Jordan Wickline says, didn't hear Kayvon's name once yesterday. Yes, I love that with a passion. I love that he didn't get a sack or anything like that. 50% Pain says, so we're coming into another one of these drafts where like 6 teams are going to need a quarterback and none looked that amazing. Yeah, basically. I mean, the Giants are definitely gonna be looking for a quarterback. The Broncos, I don't know how they're gonna feel about Bo Nix after year one. Maybe they move on and we'll see what happens. The Panthers, of course, are going to be drafting a quarterback for sure. So Giants, Panthers, 110% are going to be drafting a quarterback. And then I got to look at the other teams in the league that may possibly be looking for a quarterback. But yeah, there's going to be a couple teams looking for a quarterback already, as you can see. We need a lot of things too in the draft. We need a receiver. We need another receiver. I do love what Noah Brown did. I thought he played his butt off. I love that 3rd and 6 catch that he made over the middle. That was beautiful. That was a beautiful double move by Noah Brown. We just needed a pulse from the wide receiver room. I love Terry McLaurin. Him and Jaden they're just not on the same page yet. I think they will get on the same page. I think Jaden, as he settles down more and progresses more and develops more, I think he will be able to find Terry down the field and they'll be able to connect. And he almost had him in that Tampa Bay game. So I'm not worried about Terry McLaurin like a lot of people are. I'm not worried just yet. There was a lot of screen passes to Terry in the game. I know Cliff was trying to give him the ball, but we got to get Terry the ball other than just throwing a screen pass 2 yards behind the line and him getting bottled up like that. Brian Burchell says, how are you doing at #HTTC at #HTTC? I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm very happy after the win, even though it wasn't a pretty win, and we got very fortunate in some ways. But anytime we beat Daniel Jones and the Giants, I'll take that, man, because it's few and far between the times that we beat Daniel Jones and the Giants. No matter how bad the Giants are, they can throw out Tommy DeVito, Tyrod Taylor. It doesn't matter who they throw out there. They find a way to beat us. So I'm just happy we got a W against them. I don't care if their kicker was gone or whatever. And then people are giving Brian Dable a hard time because he didn't have 2 kickers active. And, not a lot of teams have 2 kickers active. I can understand why they give him a hard time because they're saying that Graham Gano had a groin injury a couple days ago or before, and him running after Austin Eckler aggravated it. So I get from that standpoint, like if other coaches and other people are like, hey, like, you should have had if they said this before the game, somebody told Brian Dable, like, hey, you should have had another kicker on the active roster. Because Graham Gano at any point, hey, there's a possibility he may pull a ham here, whatever, or the groin, he may reactivate it. Then, okay, if somebody came up to him and told him that, like a trainer or whatever, then, okay, you can bash him for it. But normally you don't have 2 kickers on the active roster. That's a very rare thing to do. Very rare. Joseph Busick says, I don't understand this offense. I feel like Terry had made a career of shallow cross and go routes. And it seems like we haven't run a single mesh concept or shallow cross all year. I mean, yeah, you look at Malik Neighbors. That's basically what they did. It was very simple concepts for Malik Neighbors. Comeback routes, shallow crosses, and Michael Davis was like 2 or 3 steps behind him every time. Like, it was ridiculous. It was awful how badly Michael Davis was getting beat. But they made it very simple for Malik Neighbors. Honestly, I didn't see anything complex. Like Malik Neighbors, let me see, what was Malik Neighbors' longest catch last night? Because a lot of them were just those shallow crosses. And there was a time where Daniel Jones missed him, like for an easy crosser route or a shallow cross across the middle. Like his longest catch was 28 yards, but I feel like the 28-yard catch was like a catch and run. It wasn't like, oh, he ran past somebody and caught the football, like a deep pass. Like it was a lot of catch and run and yak type of plays from Malik Neighbors, and he made the best out of him. We don't really see that much for Terry, like getting him in space, him getting yak. Like we just haven't seen that. We're setting him up for screen passes behind the line. Like Terry had 6 catches, probably 2 out of the 6 were screen passes. He had a 12-yard catch across, like going to the sideline. That was nice. But other than that, we didn't see, like, I think the best play that we have for a receiver is really Noah Brown's play. Like he was one-on-one on the outside. I didn't see any of that really for Terry. And then Noah Brown, like Jaden missed Noah Brown for a touchdown in the red zone, but he got sacked. But he had to quickly see that Noah Brown beat him pretty. Noah Brown is a good route runner. I'm not gonna say underestimated, but he's a good route runner, man. Like Noah Brown, he can do some damage for us this year. Zach Ertz, he's a dog. 4 catches, 62 yards. I guess I'll get into studs and does now real quick, and then get into comments and read some PFF grades, and then I'll get to comments and stuff like that. But I was very impressed with Noah Brown. Noah Brown was really good yesterday. He played really well. He's going to get into the end zone for sure. He's going to get a couple touchdowns. He legit is wide receiver number 2. Honestly, right now at this point, wide receiver 1 and 2 is like Zach Ertz, Austin Eckler, and Noah Brown. those guys are like wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, or I'll just say option number 1, option number 2, option number 3 at this point. And another thing I'll say about Terry, you got to give him opportunities where there's going to be contested catches. Like, that's what you got to do. You got to give him some chances where it's going to be a little murky, it's going to be a little muddy, but you got to throw him the ball. You got to give him a chance one-on-one because he's a contested catch king. You look at the catch against Stephon Gilmore, a lot of catches that he's mauled, like the catch against Jair Alexander, the catch against the Falcons where Heineke threw a YOLO ball. Like, sometimes you're just going to have to throw it up there for Terry. You know, he's not going to be wide open all the time. So you got to – a lot of the times his catches are contested where he is blanketed, he's covered, but he just makes a tough play because he's a contested catch king. So that's the thing with Jaden. Like, he's going to have to give him 50-50 chances. And that's a lot of things. That's one thing that Sam Howell, I don't think he was comfortable with doing. And then Jacoby Brissett came in the second half, and he was just throwing it up there. Like, that's what you got to do with Terry. And I think Jaden and Terry will get that chemistry as the season goes along. So I know it's not looking pretty for Terry right now, but Terry's a legitimate wide receiver. We all know that. I think he will be fine. Jordan Wickline, did Lawrence get a sack? No, he did not get a sack. And I also, going back to Joseph's comment as well, I did not like that Cliff Kingsbury was a 3rd and 4 in the red zone, and he didn't let Jaden throw the ball. Like, he ran the ball with Eckler out of the shotgun. That was just terrible on a 3rd and 4. Let your quarterback let it rip, man. You know, you got to take the training wheels off. We're starting to finally open up the offense. There's some stats I could go over. And so we're starting to slowly open up the offense. It was a lot of east-west play calls from Cliff Kingsbury, or a lot of decision-making from Jaden Daniels, but we're starting to throw the ball downfield. Like that last drive, Jaden Daniels was pushing the ball down the field. The pass to Noah Brown, that was beautiful. And he's having more attempts that are like 10 yards or more. So that's what I'm looking for. A lot of the attempts in the Buccaneers game were like 5-yard passes, screen passes, side-to-side passes, dump offs, dinking and dunking and stuff like that, which is fine. But you know, I do want to see Jaden take some shots. It doesn't have to be like deep shots. So yeah, Jaden Daniels on throws 10 yards past the line of scrimmage. The first 6 quarters of his career right now were 3 for 6 for 36 yards. The second half against the Giants, Jaden Daniels was 6 for 8 for 107 yards for passes that are 10 yards or more past the line of scrimmage. So they're starting to open up the offense more. Tress Way punted 0 times yesterday. That's really good. We know Tress Way is usually the MVP of the team. And he didn't punt not one time. Like, that's insane. Like, we always see Tress Way out there punting it, punt after punt after punt after punt. And yesterday he didn't even touch the field yesterday, which is crazy. It really is. Also, the Giants became the first team in NFL history to score 3+ touchdowns and allow no touchdowns and lose in regulation. That is just like a laughing stock stack for the Giants. Stat for the Giants there. The Giants become the first team to ever do that. That's hilarious right there. All right. Let's see if there's a couple more comments, and then we'll get to studs and duds real quick and see who was good, who was trash yesterday. Brian Robinson was a dog for sure. James Panda said, yeah, 0 punts and 0 touchdowns. That's insane. That's insane. Yeah, Jeremy Chin was awful, man. He was really bad. He was not good. And Mikey Sanders still, yes, he's having that rookie learning curve at this point. He's having that rookie learning curve. He's kind of getting baptized by fire. Wan'Dale Robinson had the touchdown on him. Chris Godwin had a touchdown on him. So teams are targeting him right now. And when we play against the Bengals, you know, I know they got Jamar Chase. T. Higgins, we'll see if he plays or not. But whoever the slot receiver is for the Bengals, I got to look that up and look at their roster. But I think teams are looking at the tape right now. And they're like, hey, okay, we can target Mikey Sanders still in the red zone. They did that with Wan'Dale Robinson for the Giants. They did that with Chris Godwin. 2 really, really good slot receivers. So it's not like Mikey Sanders still just getting cooked by anybody. Like, he's going up against some really good receivers. Not making any excuses at all, but it looks like teams are targeting back-to-back weeks. Teams targeting him. So the Bengals have a guy named Andre Savis, or whatever his name is. So I mean, we'll look at this later, but that's just something to monitor for Mikey Sanders. Still, I do want to see him improve in the red zone because it looks like teams are targeting him back-to-back weeks in the red zone. Let's see here. Calling out upset next one. I like that, Raymond. I like your confidence. I love it. I would love to see it. The Bengals, they just lost to the Chiefs in a very tough game. The Bengals are 0-2, so they're coming in very upset. They want to get a dub. Jamar Chase has come off of 2 lackluster games. This could be a get right game for him, which it probably will be against our secondary. Mike Davis should be benched. I want to see him again. And Mike Davis was so bad to the point where it's like, oh my gosh, like I don't know. He might actually be worse than the male forwards. That's how bad Michael Davis was. He was 2 steps behind. He was 2 steps behind Malik Neighbors on every play. Like every play, he was 2 steps behind. And Noah I was better, even though it was a pass interference by Noah Igbenogany. That was better. I'd rather see somebody do that than be literally 2 steps behind Malik Neighbors on every play. I'd rather see Noah I do that than what we saw from what's his name, Michael Davis. He was awful. All right, let's see here. Where are the studs and duds that I had? Austin Seibert, of course, he was awesome. Noah Brown, let's see, the top PFF rated guy. That's let's see, and I'm about to pull it up real quick. Let's go to the offense here real quick. Noah Brown, yes, he was the highest rated PFF player. He was definitely a stud, and he had a 78.6 passing grade. It was probably because of the catch that he had. The 30 was like a 34-yard catch. He played in 20 snaps, though. Terry played 66 snaps. Noah Brown played 20 snaps. Nick Allegretti played 72 snaps. He played all 72. Tyler Biadasz played all 72 snaps, which is awesome. Terry McLaurin played 66 snaps. Jaden Daniels played 71 snaps, and then he was out for that 1 snap because of the rib shot that he took. 2 guys. 1 guy picked him up and slammed him to the ground. I mean, that's just what it is. Like, if you're going to run a lot, which I don't mind the running because that's what makes him him. And, you know, his athleticism, the talent, the speed, how fast he can run, how elusive he is. The 3rd and 10, you look at how he kind of fake slid. That was awesome right there, too. He made something shake, made something out of nothing, and he got that first down. They actually took away the first down, and then we had to go for it on 4th and 1. I think that was when Brian Dable challenged it. He was successful with that challenge. And, you know, they roughed him up. I mean, that's what they're supposed to do, you know, hopefully we don't, you know, they roughed him up, you know, so that he puts his body out there if he does that. But, you know, he was able to get back up, got the wind knocked out of him. Thank goodness it wasn't broken ribs, but he got right back up. So he had 71 snaps. Jaden had a 64.7 overall grade, offensive grade, 61.5, which is a lot better than the 50-something grade that he had last week. And he had a 66.5 run grade, which is pretty good. The first down run that he had right to Kayvon Thibodeau's side where he got us in the red zone, that was an awesome run. That was a good play call by Cliff Kingsbury as well. I did like that. Nick Allegretti was the 2nd highest graded guy. Nick Allegretti, I wasn't iffy on his signing, but I was just like, you know, he's a guy that, you know, was not a perennial starter for the Chiefs. He was more of a backup, but he started in the Super Bowl for the Chiefs. So I didn't mind that signing. It was kind of like a solid signing, and he did pretty well. He had a 64.5 pass blocking grade, which is good, and a 77.0 run blocking grade. Brian Robinson was a stud, 68.1 PFF grade. He ran 20 miles an hour on that run, on that 40-yard run. But, you know, the only thing is if he had that breakaway speed, would he have run for a touchdown? So I'm not going to say it looked like he had a backpack on his back, but that's the only knock on B-Rob. Like, that should have been a touchdown. Instead of us getting a field goal there, that should have been a touchdown. So those are the things. It's like, oh man, I really wish B-Rob could have broke out and finished that run there. You know, honestly, like that was a great run by him. It was a 3rd and 1. He gets stopped at the line of scrimmage, then he bounces out and scampers up the field for 40 yards. It's just the only thing I really wish he would have finished that with a touchdown instead of a long first down, because that game, it was just like anytime we got in the red zone, it was just penalty after penalty after penalty after penalty. All right, stud for me was Austin Eckler. I mean, I thought he had a great game. I mean, that and not only running the football and catching the football, but he was doing a good job pass blocking, pass protection. I thought he did a really good job. The pass for Jaden to Noah Brown, he did a really good job in pass pro. Austin Eckler had a 64.8 overall grade, 65.1 pass blocking grade. Actually, a passing grade in the pass game, 67.0 running grade. Actually, in pass blocking, the PFF had him at 25.8. But from what I saw, I thought he did a good job on 3rd down when he was in there in pass protection. And Zach Ertz did a really good job. He was a 63.7 PFF grade, 63.6 passing grade or receiving grade. That catch that he had, where it was a one-on-one 50-50 catch, that was awesome. That was just a grown man move by Zach Ertz. That was a grown man move where he just took the ball away from the guy It was a 50-50 play. Jaden got hit. The ball popped in the air. He caught it, took away from the guy, just roughed him, took his cookies. And then we quickly snapped the football. That I love that too. I love that by Cliff. And I love that by Jaden Daniels to have the presence of mind to snap the football before Brian Dable threw that challenge flag. So I love that too, because teams usually do that to us. And I said that like when the Eagles did that to us a couple years ago, where Devontae Smith, it was in our house, man, we lost. Carson Wentz was the quarterback at the time. I think it was the 2022 season. And Devontae Smith caught the ball, but he dropped it. Like the ball hit the ground, but Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hertz quickly snapped the football. Ron Rivera is just too slow to throw the challenge flag. Everybody's yelling at Ron to throw the challenge flag, but guess what? Nick Sirianni told them to hurry up and snap the football, and they snapped it, so they didn't have an opportunity. Brian Dable did throw the challenge flag, but it was a little too late. And that's what I like about Cliff and Jaden. They just got the ball off and ran the next play. And then that was the time when the refs kept having that clock management stuff. Like they kept messing up the clock. And they were like, oh, there's this much time on the clock. And then they came back out and did it again. And they kept messing up. But it was like, okay, whatever. It doesn't matter now because we already snapped the football and we already got the first down. So I love the presence of mind by Jaden Daniels and Cliff Kingsbury there. Austin Ekeler was a stud. Jaden Daniels was a stud on that last drive. And I thought he did a lot better with passing the football, getting the ball downfield. He had to settle down in that first half. I think after he got hit, he settled down a little bit more and started pushing the ball downfield a little bit to Noah Brown and to Zach Ertz. There was 2 back-to-back plays where he threw the ball over the middle to Zach Ertz. And then after the Ben St. Juste forced fumble, I think that was one of Jaden's better drives throwing the football. He was 23 for 29. And let me look at some of the stats here. So Jaden was 23 or 29. Once again, doesn't throw any interceptions. He doesn't turn the ball over. Was sacked 5 times, but he's 23 or 29. 226 yards passing the ball as well, which was good. His longest pass was 34 yards to Noah Brown. Then he had the 27-yard pass to Austin Ekeler, where it was more of a screen pass. And then he had a 21-yard pass to Zach Ertz, 12-yard pass to De'Ami Brown, where that was a screen pass. And then a 12-yard pass to Terry McLaurin. So slowly but surely, he's starting to get the ball downfield a little bit and getting more comfortable throwing the football. All right, shout out to my guy Pedro. Make sure you guys sub him up. He said hit the like button. Yes, sir. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Subscribe if you guys are new as well. Shout out to Pedro. Make sure you guys subscribe to him. He said Ben St. Juste pisses him off with all the celebrations. So yes, he does have this. And then the seatbelt is basically the one that everybody does. Everybody does the seatbelt celebration. That's like the thing right now. But Ben St. Juste had a good game. I liked what he did. He was the best corner against Malik Neighbors. He gave up one play to Malik Neighbors, and that was about it. But other than that, like that was with that Joe Witt Jr. Like I think he set our guys up a little bit too, having them in single coverage. Like he constantly put Michael Davis on Malik Neighbors. Then he put Noah I on Malik Neighbors in single coverage on an island, and it took him a little while to start putting Ben St. Juste on him. So I think Joe Witt Jr. So far through 2 games, it's like a lot of room for improvement for Joe Witt Jr. I haven't seen any violence. I haven't seen much violence other than the Frankie Louvu hit on Malik Neighbors and another Frankie Louvu hit. That's like the only violence I've really seen so far. And maybe the Ben St. Juste punch, the peanut punch that he had on Devin Singletary. Other than that, we've been giving up. The Bucky Irving had a day against us on the ground. Devin Singletary, like I was like, bro, we get a break here. Because we don't have to play against Saquon Barkley anymore. And then next thing you know, we see Devin Singletary scampering up the field for like 20-yard runs, 15-yard runs. Devin Singletary had – how many yards on the ground did Devin Singletary had? He had 16 carries for 95 yards. His longest run was for 22 yards, and he had a touchdown. Like the touchdown run that Devin Singletary had, he was looking like Boobie Miles. He was breaking tackles left and right. It was terrible. Like Jeremy Chin couldn't wrap up. Guys just couldn't wrap up. So the defense has been bad so far. The defense, like the secondary, I think we all knew, like I think. We knew the secondary was going to be bad. I didn't think our run defense was going to be this bad. Our run defense has been pretty underwhelming. It's only been 2 games, but the run defense has not been good at all so far. Bucky Irving had a day, and then now Devin Singletary had a day. You know, so going up against the Bengals, we really have to stop the run. Like I know Joe Burrow can hurt us, but we got to stop the run. Shout out my guy Devin. He said 50% pain. Yeah. Frankie Louvu was the only one who got the violence memo so far, for sure. And maybe Bobby Wagner here and there. He had a couple TFLs. Bobby Wagner a little bit. But Frankie Louvu is the only one who's really gotten the violence a memo so far, for sure. He's the only guy. But all right, let's recap some of the BetUS picks from this weekend, guys. Just want to get into that. Make sure you guys check out BetUS. Unfortunately, right now we're gonna look at this Terry prop, and this Terry prop honestly looks like it's gonna go under. I hate to say that. It's way too early. Way too early. I think we can still go under with Jaden's interception, so I think that's a go. I do want to look at the Offensive Rookie of the Year odds. I really think Jaden is going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. You look at Caleb Williams, and he did the Justin Fields, where Caleb Williams looked like he was about to cry on the sideline. Seriously, like he looked like he was going to be in tears last night. He like put his head back, closed his eyes, and Justin Fields did the same thing as well. When we beat Justin Fields, so something with those Bears quarterbacks, man, and So I really think if you would have took Jaden Daniels plus 500 in the beginning of the year, that's looking pretty good. Marvin Harrison looked darn good yesterday too, though. He did look darn good. So Marvin Harris is probably the only guy that's really. Drake May is not going to get it. Bo Nix is not going to get it. And then J.J. McCarthy got injured. So I think the only guys that Jaden Daniels really has to worry about for Offensive Rookie of the Year at this point is Marvin Harrison with having 2 touchdowns yesterday, and Malik Neighbors looking good like he did. But Daniel Jones is his quarterback. But let's get to some of the props. We're going to recap real quick how they went. But, of course, shout out to BetUS. Make sure you guys check out BetUS. They have a 150% bonus on a deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000 with code YouTube150. Make sure you guys check them out. Fast and easy deposit withdrawal process. 24/7 personalized service for 365 days out of the year. Live wagering on all major games. And also get 10% back on your net losses twice a year. So make sure you guys check out BetUS. Use them all the time. And they got game specials too. They got really cool game specials. Anytime touchdown scores as well, even though we didn't score a touchdown. They do have that on there too. So make sure you guys check them out. But let's go over the how some of the totals went. I did have Malik Neighbors. I didn't even pick him, but Zach Ertz. They don't have him up here. But running back duos, I had B-Rob getting over 55.5 rushing yards. That he smashed that with getting 100 and how many rushing yards did B-Rob have? He had 137, something like that. He had 133, 17 carries for 133 yards. So he smashed the over on rushing yards. I think right now the cheat sheets for wagering purposes, whoever plays the Giants, take the over on the rushing yards. Aaron Jones got 97 rushing yards against the Giants, and now B-Rob got 133 rushing yards against the Giants. The Giants, who do they play next? They play the Cleveland Browns next. So I would take Jerome Ford over rushing yards on the Giants. That's just like a quick pick for you guys that I would take for next week because the Giants' run defense is just as bad as ours, if not worse. Terry McLaurin right now, 49.5 receiving yards. I would leave his receiving yards alone. I just wouldn't take that. But I showed you guys BetUS's receptions. They had him at 3.5. We smashed the over on that. He got 6 receptions, so we won on that wager. Zach Ertz over 2.5 receptions. I took the over on that on BetUS, so we smashed that. And then also Austin Eckler over 2.5 receptions as well. He smashed that with about 3 receptions. So honestly, the cheat code right now, if you want to take receptions on Zach Ertz every game, same thing with Austin Eckler because those are his 2 main receiving targets. So every week, Jaden's throwing the ball to Zach Ertz a lot. He's throwing the ball to Austin Eckler a lot as well. So BetUS, that's free money right there if you wager on the receptions. And then Malik Neighbors, like I said, another cheat code for BetUS as well as the wide receiver 1 against the Commanders. Jamar Chase, I'm already going to call it now. I'm taking the over in Jamar Chase's receiving yards. T. Higgins, I'm gonna sprinkle some money on both those guys' receiving yards next week because we just can't stop receivers to save our lives. We just can't do it. And then who is their running back now? Because I know the Bengals don't have Joe Mixon anymore. I think the Bengals I think their running back is Zach Moss, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look that up real quick. Before we move on, I'm pretty sure it is Zach Moss. Yeah, Zach Moss is their running back 1. He had 12 carries for 34 yards. So they don't really have a prolific running game, but it's against us. So you just don't know. And Mike Gesicki as well has 7 catches for 91 yards. The Bengals against the Chiefs. Just look at some of the numbers. So for next week, I'll probably just sprinkle some money on Mike Gesicki's over, Jamar Chase's over, and T. Higgins over for next week on BetUS. So shout out to BetUS. Like I said, guys. First 3 deposits up to $2,000. They're giving you guys 150% deposit bonus match with code YouTube50 for first-time users. All right, let's get back into some of the numbers here. real quick. Let me see some of the comments here that I missed. Yeah, Moss and Chase Brown. Yeah, Chase Brown, he's their other running back. I think Zach Moss is their RB1. Chase Brown's their RB2. But honestly, like, this defense is so bad to the point where you can take the over on anybody's yards, and I wouldn't blame you for it, because you look at Singletary, he almost got 100 yards rushing, and then Malik Neighbors got 100 yards receiving. So that's just how bad this defense is. It's really bad. So Chue C says, I agree. Wouldn't be mad if Jonathan Allen gets traded now for the trade deadline rather than later when he loses more value. Yeah, I mean, John Allen, he just hasn't been impactful like he has in the previous years. Deron Payne, they just haven't been as impactful. It's only been 2 games, so we'll see what happens. Deron Payne, he did get pressure. He created the sack for Cleveland Farrell in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That, Cleveland Farrell benefited off the pressure that Deron Payne created on Baker Mayfield. They got to wrap up too. There's been a lot of times where they gotten close, but they just haven't finished. They got to finish plays. They're getting $100 moves and 10-cent shots. They're not finishing plays, so they got to finish the plays and the sacks. Like Baker Mayfield, they got to him. They just didn't finish. Daniel Jones, they really didn't get to Daniel Jones at all. That was the most concerning thing. I didn't see a lot of pressure on Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones was pretty comfortable back there. So I don't know if Joe Witt Jr. needs to dial up some more pressure or what to help the guys out. But there just wasn't a lot of pressure on Daniel Jones. He was pretty comfortable back there for the most part. Let's see here. Let's get to a couple of duds here. Let's see here. So I talked about Jaden. There was not a lot of studs at all. I do like some of the things that Cliff did. I know you guys give Cliff a hard time, but I do like some of the things that Cliff did. I thought he stuck with the run game. I love that. He established a run game. He got B-Rob the football. There were so many times where we complained about Scott Turner and Eric Bieniemy not running the ball enough and not getting B-Rob the ball enough, but I thought he did that. I thought he kept feeding him the football. B-Rob ended up with how many carries? He ended up with 17 carries. So that's the formula for success. If B-Rob gets 15, if he gets over like 13, 14 carries, 9 times out of 10, we should be in the game. I'm not going to guarantee a win, but if B-Rob gets at least 14, 15 carries, we should. That means that's a good formula for success for the Commanders. Austin Eckler had 8 carries for 38 yards. That's pretty solid. So that duo, 35 carries, man. That's definitely. And the time of possession, we dominated the time of possession, and it was crazy. Like at halftime, it was 6-6, something like that. Yeah, I think it was like 6-6, or I'm looking at it. It was 9-9. It was 9-9. We dominated the time of possession by like 10 more minutes or something ridiculous, and it was still tied up. Yeah, time of possession. We had the ball for 37 minutes. The Giants had the ball for 22 minutes. That's ridiculous. Like numbers wise, we should have won the game, but we still struggled to win the game, and we struggled. We barely won it with the kicker out there as well. With the kicker being out, we barely won the game. All right, let's see here. So some more. Let's get into the duds here. Basically, talked about the studs for the most part. Brandon Coleman did not grade well. He had a 39.5 PFF grade. He had a 16.7 pass blocking grade. So Brandon Coleman was graded as the worst offensive commander. So I'll try to look at the tape and see why. Like, what was he doing wrong? Did he give up a pressure? Did he give up a sack or anything like that? But yeah, he did not grade well against the Giants for whatever reason. And then Ben Sinnott was also the second worst with a 42.1 PFF grade. Luke McCaffrey, 43.8, which is pretty bad. John Bates, 49.1 PFF grade. Sam Cosmi graded out with a 57.7, but a 73.3 pass blocking grade, which is really good. Tyler Biadasz with a 79.0 pass blocking grade. He was a stud. He did a good job against Dexter Lawrence for the most part. Cornelius Lucas graded out with a 69.4 pass blocking grade, which is pretty good. That's in the green. Andrew Wiley with a 54.5 and a 50.1 offensive grade for Andrew Wiley, so that's pretty bad. Who else? And that's really about it for guys that are of note. We'll move over to the defensive side of the football. Michael Davis was graded as the worst. Emmanuel Forbes last week had a 33.3 PFF grade. Michael Davis beat that PFF grade of being awful He had a 31.1 defensive grade. He had a 23.0 tackling grade. He couldn't tackle to save his life. He could not tackle Malik Neighbors to save his life. He also had a 30.9 coverage grade as well, which is pretty darn bad. Cleveland Farrell graded out with 36.8, 26.8 tackling grade as well, which is awful. Cleveland Farrell did get a sack. He leads the team in sacks with 2 sacks. He also has the only 2 sacks for the season for the team. Right now, Cleveland Farrell, Dorrance Armstrong, I do want to see him get on the board with sacks. Dorrance Armstrong, he was the big get for us. He was like he was like the biggest name signing as far as edge rushers coming from Dallas. He hasn't gone on the board yet with a sack. He had a 48.2 PFF grade. He had 36.8 run defense grade, which is awful, and a 26.9 grade for tackling, which is awful as well. Jeremy Chin, his tackling grade was a 23.7. Bobby Wagner was the best PFF graded defender with an 89.3, 92.2 defensive grade, 81.1 tackling grade, and a 64.5 coverage grade. So pretty solid all aboard. This was a better game from Bobby Wagner, like the Tampa Bay Buccaneer game. He looked like he was tired. He looked like he was still in preseason mode. He looked like a guy like he hadn't played in a couple years, or that he's played for a lot of years and he has a lot of wear and tear in him. That's the way he looked in the Buccaneers game. This game, he looked like he had some more juice to him, like he had some more pep in his step, some more energy. So I do like that Bobby Wagner looked a lot better in this game. He played in 56 snaps. Ben St. Juste played in 56 snaps. Ben St. Juste played every snap. Jeremy Chin played in every snap. He played 56 snaps. I do think Derek Forrest should get an opportunity. I do think Tyler Owen should get an opportunity. If Jeremy Chin is going to be tackling like that, other guys should play. Other guys should get opportunities. But Jeremy Chin had a 62.7 coverage grade, which is not bad. It's pretty good. Dante Fowler played 22 snaps. Mikey Sanders still 39 snaps. Had a 77.5 tackling grade and a 54.8 coverage grade. Johnny Newton played in 12 snaps, 39.5 defensive grade, and a 38.9 run defensive grade, 62.8 pressure grade. So he did not grade well. Only played in 12 snaps. So he's getting his feet wet out there on a snap count. Has to get his feet wet and his feet back to normal, as well as he had surgeries on both feet, and then he had the soft tissue injury as well. So he's getting back up to speed. Quan Martin had a solid game, 62.7 PFF grade. John Allen, 62.9 defensive grade, 49.1 run defensive grade, 69.4 tackling grade, and 68.2 pass rushing grade as well. Ben St. Juste with a 69.0 PFF grade and a 70.2 coverage grade. So Ben St. Juste had a good game, man. He was a stud to me. Ben St. Juste was a stud. Bobby Wagner, somewhat a stud. Frankie Louvu was a stud for the hits. Almost taking Malik Neighbors out the game. I don't condone, head hunting, but he played with violence. And sometimes you need a mean guy out there. Sometimes you need a nasty guy out there that's going to go out there and hit somebody. So I didn't have a problem with the Frankie Louvu. The Frankie Louvu hit on Malik Neighbors, that was a legal hit. It wasn't like a targeting hit or anything like that. He did jump off sides on the 3rd and 1 where Daniel Jones did the run up the gut. He almost timed it perfectly, though. He was very close to timing that perfectly. So studs defensively, there really weren't many. Like I said, Frankie Louvu, Ben St. Juste, Bobby Wagner, and that's about it. Nick Bellore was a dud for me just for the 2 penalties. The penalty for the holding, negating the touchdown for Austin Eckler, the kick return, and then he had another penalty on unsportsmanlike conduct. So back-to-back penalties there. You just can't do that. You can't do that. Is my guy Brandon in the chat? Where's my guy Brandon at? Robbie Ray, shout out to him. That's my guy. He's been subbed to the channel for years, man. Shout out to Robbie Ray. He says Xavier Howard has legal issues, has a whole revenge case for sending stuff of his ex to her son or someone underage. Not going to get into details about that, but I did hear about that, so they probably will not pick him up. Patrick Peterson's available, but he's old. It's just the pickings are slim. They brought up Bobby Price from the practice squad. Chiggy might be might be elevated from the practice squad, so I can see that. But right now, I just don't see them bringing in any outside guys. I just don't see that happening. I don't see them bringing in any outside guys. at this point. The roster is not good, and Adam Peters, he had opportunities to bring in some guys earlier in free agency, but he decided not to. He brought in Noah Michael Davis, who's not good at all, and he decided to stick with Emmanuel Forbes, who they basically, I'm not gonna say they benched him, but he has the injury, which I think conveniently worked out to kind of let him rest on the sideline. But honestly, Michael Davis was so bad to the point where it was like, oh my gosh, I don't think Emmanuel Forbes it could be any worse than what Michael Davis was doing, honestly. All right, hold on one. Mass Collector says you got to protect Jaden Daniels, of course. My guy Devin says Travis Hunter or Will Johnson. Yeah, I could definitely see Travis Hunter, man, because he plays both sides of the football. And we need another receiver out there. We got to draft another receiver. He's a big body guy. I mean, he's a lean guy, but he has good hands. He can play corner. He can play the cornerback position. He got an interception against Colorado State as well, so he's got good hands. We need guys that have ball his life. So I could definitely see him. But he's gonna be a first round pick for sure. So it just depends on whether we go corner or receiver. But if Travis Hunter's there, man, I think that's a guy you definitely got to take for sure. Brandon Scott says, "Do we sign a cornerback?" Shout out to my guy Brandon. Make sure you guys sub him up. That's my guy. Make sure you guys check out Locked On Wizards as well. He's doing a great job with Locked On Wizards. Doing a great job. He went to the Ravens game this weekend. He saw the Ravens lose in person. I will be at the Ravens game when we play the Ravens October 13th in Baltimore. So that should be a fun experience. Shout out to my guy Gordon. I'm gonna be going to the game with my guy Gordon Horowitz. But Xavier Howard, I don't think anybody signs him at this point. And I don't think we might sign another cornerback, but it might be a corner that's not like a big name guy. It might be a guy who's like another guy, like kind of like a low key guy, like a Bobby Price or somebody like that. Some people are bringing up Tyree Castro Fields, but he's not available anymore. 50% paying. Dotson's going to be playing. Yes, he is playing tonight. We'll see what happens with that. We'll see if he gets any catches tonight, man, because he went 0 for 0. De'Ami Brown, I'm so happy that De'Ami Brown finally got a catch. He finally made some plays after making that documentary. But Jahan Dotson, yes, he went 0 for 0. He didn't have a catch at all. He got shut out last week. A.J. Brown's playing. A.J. Brown is not playing, so Jahan Dotson might get an opportunity. He might get an opportunity. Big Nature, what's up, man? He said, what about your opinion on what Noah Brown can do for us going forward, and why is Luke McCaffrey invisible? Right now, I just think the offense right now, honestly, because Terry's not invisible, but I think it's a work in progress for the wide receivers. I think it's a work in progress for Jaden Daniels to get settled and, see the field. I think he's starting to see the field more. The second half was his best half for sure. Getting the ball down the field. You look at the double move to Noah Brown. He sat down. Jaden was cool, calm, and collected in the pocket, set his feet, saw Noah Brown. He sucked the defender in. Tyler Nubin got the ball. Perfect placement of the football down the field to Noah Brown. Got the ball right over Tyler Nubin's head accurately to Noah Brown. So we're starting to see more of that. And Cliff's starting to trust Jaden more, I guess, or whatever. The chemistry's going there. So he's dialing up some plays where it's not just a screen pass, east-west kind of play. But Noah Brown, man, I really like what he brings to this team. I think he's a really good wide receiver, number 2 or number 3 in this league. We saw what he did with the Texans against the Buccaneers, where he had 100-something yards receiving. Had 100-something yards receiving against the Bengals. So hopefully he can do that again against the Bengals next week. But Noah Brown, he's a strong guy. And Jaden missed Noah Brown down the field too. Noah Brown could have had a touchdown in the red zone, but Jaden got sacked. But he's got to see that. He's got to see Noah Brown had a nice double move. And that double move was a sick move by Noah Brown. That was a beautiful move by Noah Brown. So I'm intrigued. He looked quick. He looked fast. It makes me more upset that he wasn't active in the Buccaneers game. Maybe if he was active, I'm not going to say we would have won the game, but maybe Noah Brown would have helped out Terry, would have helped out Jaden. I think Noah Brown could have been used. He could have been useful in that game against the Buccaneers. So I'm disappointed that he wasn't active, but I mean, maybe there's some reasons that we just don't know or whatever. I know Cliff said it wasn't an injury. They just wanted to get him up to speed, but we needed guys, man. We need guys. We need somebody to step up. We need a pulse from the wide receiver room. And I think Terry's going to get there. But Noah Brown, man, I think if I had to put receiving yards on him for real, I think he could get to 500 yards on the receiving. Again, he did that 2 years in a row. I think he can do it again. And I think I like the chemistry that they already have. Excuse me. But I like Noah Brown. He has strong hands. He's a good route runner. And Noah Brown is getting better each year. With the Cowboys, he had a good year. The Texans, he had a good year. So I think he's starting to hit his prime and just get better year by year right now. So I like the pickup of Noah Brown. I think that was a good pickup by Adam Peters. A last minute pickup. I am looking at the Eagles game right now. The Eagles are at the 50-yard line. I'm not going to do a play-by-play or anything like that. But I'm just watching the game, of course. We are tied for number 2 in the division. I know it's super early, but we are tied for number 2 in the division. If the Eagles lose tonight, that would be great. But I don't see that happening. But, of course, that would be awesome if that does happen. Let's see here. Jahan Dawes had a 7-yard catch. Okay. Yeah, they got to use him. They got to use him because they don't have A.J. Brown. So somebody else has to step up for the Eagles. So they got to use him. They got to get a. I'm watching. I see Bill Belichick is talking to Eli Manning, and he's talking to the Manning brothers. I do see that right now. Jalen Hurts threw a pass to Dallas Goedert. Oh, no, that's 81. 81. I don't even know who that is for the Eagles. They got a first down. So they're probably going to be the Falcons because we know how Kirk does on Monday Night Football. And Kirk's just, he's always going to throw an interception. And Kirk, honestly, right now, Kirk can barely move. Like, Kirk's not 100%. Like, he really is not 100% off of that Achilles injury. There was a video where I saw where Kirk could barely move. He was doing a handoff, and he was barely moving. And, yeah, Saquon, he's about to get a first down, yeah. So, yeah, the Eagles are going to win this game. Saquon just got a first down. Let me get back to the comments here, guys. 50% Payne said they're going to feed Jahan Dawson just to make us look dumb. They're not going to feed Jahan Dawson to make us look dumb. They're just going to feed him because they need to. And they gave up a 3rd-round pick to get him, so it's like they might as well use him. And I'm a Jahan Dawson fan, though. I've always liked this game. I wish him no ill will. I wish him the best. As long as he's not playing us, I wish him the best. Because I still think I think he's a productive receiver, and I think he has the ability to be a productive receiver in this league. He has 7 touchdowns his rookie year, so I think he's a good receiver. I really do. I think he's a talented receiver. Of course, we should have drafted Olave. I get it and all that, and he did have some drop problems and whatnot for sure. But I do think he's going to be productive for the Eagles with A.J. Brown being out. I'm looking at this game. I'm just looking at this. I do want to see if they score here. I'm going to go over the penalties, how many penalties we had. It was so frustrating how many penalties we had. Kenneth Gainwell goes up the middle for a couple yards, and they probably going to score. I did put a wager on Jalen Hurts to get a touchdown tonight, Devontae Smith to get a touchdown, and Saquon Barkley to get a touchdown. So we'll see who scores first. I should have did a first touchdown score for sure. Yeah, Saquon Barkley is eating. That's when we play the Eagles. It's going to be both games we play are going to be close games. I really feel like the only thing is that because the Eagles' defense is so bad, their defense is so awful. The defense, their defense is terrible. Like Darius Slay is not the same. He's getting older, and he's been in the league for a couple of years. He can't check Terry before. That's gonna be a breakout game for Terry. I just want to see this first drive and who scores. 2nd and 6, so they ran up the gut for 2 yards. Now it's 3rd down. It's like 3rd and 3. And they're probably going to do the tush push and whatnot, but we're going to give up a lot of points to the Eagles. They're just talented. We're not going to be able to stop Saquon with this defense. Our defense is trash. We're not going to be able to stop A.J. Brown. We're not going to be able to stop Devontae or Dallas Goedert. But we're going to be able to put up points on the Eagles defense. The Eagles defense is terrible. Their defense is awful. You saw what the Packers did. Don't get me wrong. Jordan Love is a dog. Jaden Reed's a dog. Christian Watson's okay. Josh Jacobs is good, but Jaden Reed was going crazy on the Eagles defense. Like the Eagles defense could not stop Jaden Reed to save their lives. 3rd and 3, Jalen Hurts drops back. He's looking around, holding the football, scrambles to the left, and he throws the ball to okay, they got to stop. Okay. And they held him to a field goal. So we'll see And I know Pedro was talking about the cornerback celebrating. You look at the Falcons cornerback; their cornerbacks are celebrating like I don't know it. That's just what they do. That's just what they do. All right, so the Falcons hold the Eagles to a field goal, and it will be 3-0. Wine Fox, yes, we could have had Chris Olave. Yes, that trade will go down in history. I think the only person that really is doing anything out of that trade is Brian Robinson. I know that Brian Robinson is the only person from that trade where we got Cole Turner. Cole Turner's on the practice squad. Sam Howell traded. Jahan Dotson traded. And that's it from that trade. So in hindsight, or really even, I'm not even going to say hindsight, at the time, a lot of people were like, yeah, we should just get Olave. Imagine Olave and Terry McLaurin together. That would have been a nasty duo. But I love B-Rob. Even though B-Rob's not a speed demon or an explosive back, like he makes plays. Like he is a bruiser. He is a tough runner. He's a physical runner, and he gets the job done. He gets into the end zone, too. And he's a good receiving back, too. Like, B-Rob's gotten better over the 2 years, and B-Rob got shot, and he's still playing really well. Matt Scalator said, I take B-Rob over Olave at this point. That's debatable, man. I mean, B-Rob, like, look at this year. At this point, B-Rob's on pace to get 1,000 yards on the season. So, I mean, Olave, looking at his numbers, what his numbers been? I know he's got another 1,000-yard season on his belt for sure. Yeah, he had 1,000 yards. He had 1,000 yards both seasons. Both seasons he had 1,000 yards receiving. He had 5 touchdowns. Jahan has more touchdowns than Chris Olave, though. That's like the only thing that Jahan has. His draft class, Jahan has the most receiving touchdowns in his draft class. That's the crazy thing about it. James Panda said they might go for it. Okay, I turned away. They're going for it. Wow, they're going for it on 4th and 4. Thank you for saying that, James, because I stopped looking at the game but they may be pump faking though. But at the same thing, the Eagles, they don't pump. They usually do go for it on 4th down. They might be pump faking though. They are going for it on 4th down. All right, let's see what happens. Jalen Hurts runs to the right. He has nobody. He has to throw it. Yeah, yep. Oh, wow. Nick Sirianni, he decided to go for it. Yeah, they didn't get it. They should have kicked the field goal. Because I stopped looking at it because I thought they were going to kick a field goal, but they just went for it, and they didn't get for it. They didn't get it. So that was a bad decision on Nick Sirianni's part. I get it. You know, they had a lot of confidence. They kind of, let their stuff hang, and they had confidence there, and they weren't able to tush push. If it was a tush push, 4th and 1, 4th and inches, they probably would have got it. But since they had to throw the football, they weren't able to get it, especially with A.J. Brown being out. But if they can't do the tush push on 4th down, then they're basically out of it. And they went for it, they didn't get it. They should have just kicked the field goal, but it is what it is. I'll be happy if they lose this game, of course. I would love it. They'd be 1-1. We'd be 1-1. The Cowboys would be 1-1, and the Giants would be 0-2, and we will all be tied for first. So I would love it, of course, if they lost. Let's see any more comments here, guys. Somebody brought up Troy Apke in here in the chat. Really, Troy Apke? I mean, I don't want to hear that name ever again, man. Troy Apke was a special teams ace. He was a special teams ace that wasn't good at special teams. There was times where he was terrible on special teams too. He was running in quicksand. He ran a 4.3 40-yard dash. He must have been the slowest player that I've ever seen run a 4.3 40-yard dash. Like, he was so slow in coverage. He was one of the worst safeties. And for some reason, he was always on the roster. Every 53-man roster, he always made it with Ron Rivera. Like, him and Dax Milne, they were untouchable. They always made the roster. Banga 75-187 said, who punched the ball out of the Giants running back and gave us the ball back? That was a big play. That was Ben St. Juste. That's why he was a stud. And he did the best job against Malik Neighbors. He played a really good game. And the thing is, Ben St. Juste, he did a good job on Mike Evans. In my opinion, I thought he did a good job. But he just didn't turn his head around on Mike Evans. I thought he was there. Like, we've seen guys just get big boyed and bodied and be 2 steps behind receivers. Like Malik Neighbors, Mike Davis was 2 steps behind Malik Neighbors every time. And then you look at Emmanuel Forbes, who would get big boyed by A.J. Brown. So Ben St. Juste was there. That's the credit that I give Ben St. Juste. So he had a good week last week, honestly, in my opinion. I thought he played well against. I thought he did what he could do against Mike Evans. Like, Mike Evans is a dog. Like, we all knew Mike Evans was going to cook. But he just got to turn his head around. Somebody said Danny Johnson's available. I mean, I wouldn't mind it. I wouldn't mind bringing Danny Johnson back at this point. I mean, we're desperate at the cornerback spot. We just need bodies. Honestly, we just need bodies out there. St. Juice finally learned the human head is capable of turning around. That is hilarious. That is hilarious. He doesn't like to turn his head around. That is a fact. He's allergic to turning his head around. That is true. So he finally did that. But right now, at this point, he's our best corner, which is not good. Like, if Ben St. Juice is your best cornerback, that's not a good cornerback room. What happened to Jimmy Moreland, man? Jimmy Moreland, the people's corner, man. He had a good rookie year. He had a really good training camp. I remember he had 3 interceptions in mini camp or something like that, and everybody went crazy out of James Madison. Shout out to Jimmy Moreland. He had the interception. He had a couple interceptions, but and he was a solid slot corner. Like, he wasn't bad. I don't even think he's in the NFL anymore. I know he was on the Texans for a hot second, but I don't think he's in the NFL anymore at this point. But I like Jimmy Moreland. I do. I like Jimmy Moreland. He was a solid player. He wasn't great. He wasn't terrible. He was a solid player. Yeah, I'd rather have Danny Johnson than Michael Davis too. I don't blame you. I'd rather have a lot of people in the league. I'd rather take Tyree Castro Fields back than rather have a Michael Davis. I'd rather put Chiggy on the field than rather have a Michael Davis. But it's a 1-year deal. I'd rather have Ronald Darby than Michael Davis. I mean, there's so many names I could throw out there, and that rather than have a Michael Davis. Like, he was that bad. They just had to bench him. And I try to stick up for Michael Davis a little bit. Like, I was kind of iffy on the signing. Like, I wasn't a big fan of signing him. But, looking at his numbers and looking at how he's played, like, he has one bad year, one good year. And I was like, okay, this is the year he's supposed to have a good year. And he just went out there. He was awful. You can see why Forbes was starting over Michael Davis. Like, that's how bad Michael Davis was. It was like, okay, it was so bad to the point where it was like, maybe Forbes might be a little bit better than Davis. That's how bad Michael Davis was. Going back to the Monday Night Football game, they're showing this Aaron Hernandez commercial. I mean, oh my gosh, like, I don't know how much you can milk out of this Aaron Hernandez story. Like, I mean, there's been so many documentaries, Netflix movies and documentaries about Aaron Hernandez, a Lifetime special on Aaron Hernandez. I mean, like, these TV stations are just trying to milk the I don't know what out of the Aaron Hernandez story. Just let it be, let it go. Everybody knows the situation. Everybody knows the story. Let the Aaron Hernandez story go. Just let it go. That's all. That's the last thing I'm gonna say about Aaron Hernandez in the show and all these shows that they keep making and spinoffs and documentaries and stuff like that. All right. Keep in mind, In the Trenches podcast, he says, keep in mind preseason over in the. Yeah, I mean, it looks like a preseason game. Oh, wow. So the Falcons went 3-0. Goodness gracious. Yeah, Kirk is cooked, man. I think they got like a Matt Ryan version of he threw a pick. Oh, no. Quinion Mitchell dropped the interception. I need Kirk to throw an interception, man. I need him to throw a pick. I need Kirk. Kirk's going to throw a pick before the night is over. We already know that. He's going to throw a pick. Kirk's going to throw a pick before the night is over. I need Kirk to throw an interception. Jimmy C says, be right, good point. Bro, I take Danny Johnson in a heartbeat right now. But I'm going to probably wrap it up, guys, in about 5 minutes and let you guys enjoy the game. I'm going to relax and watch the game. I'm watching the game myself anyway. Just want to chop it up with you guys and enjoy Victory Monday. Left hand up. A win is a win is a win. Beating the Giants. I enjoyed that for sure. Let me see if there's any more notes that I wanted to go over here before we wrap it up. I think we covered everything for the most part. Jaden Daniels did bobble a snap to Zacchaeus where it was a reverse. So he's got to work on that. B-Rob had a 32-yard run. That was great. The red zone struggles, we just got to work on that for sure. Zacchaeus was the punt returner. That was different. That was a little odd. I like Jameson Crowder as the punt returner, but Zacchaeus did a good job on the one punt return that he had. So I did like that. Jeremy Chin has been awful. Missed tackle on Devin Singletary, and then he had a missed tackle on Daniel Jones as well. We did get bailed out on a 3rd and 5 on a holding penalty on Drew Phillips, where Jaden Daniels got sacked, but they called a holding penalty. What else? Malik Neighbors' drop. I already talked about that a bunch. And Jaden Daniels ran right past Kayvon Thibodeau for a first down. That was an awesome, awesome run by Jaden Daniels to get us in the red zone to set up the field goal by Austin Seibert. Austin Seibert, what a heck of a pickup to go from Riley Patterson and Ramiz Ahmed to, and then Brandon McManus, having the allegations to get to Austin Seibert, Austin Cyberg. I mean, that's just a huge upgrade. And he went 7 for 7. He set the record for making 7 out of 7 field goals. It's just what the doctor ordered to go from that. To go from the guys that we had to Austin Seibert, like we needed that bad. Jaden Daniels, when he was being blitzed, he was 9 for 9, 140 yards, 118.8 quarterback rating, which is really good against a blitz. So Jaden Daniels did a good job against the blitz. Cliff Kingsbury through 2 weeks. You look at his offense, EPA per play, we're 4th in the league. Success rate, 5th in the league. Drop back EPA, we're 6th. Rushing EPA, 4th in the NFL as well. So Cliff, numbers-wise, has been okay. Jaden Daniels has more rushing yards than Breece Hall, Kyron Williams, Derrick Henry, Devin Achane, Travis Etienne, and Jahmyr Gibbs. Also, Jaden Daniels has more passing yards than Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Justin Herbert, Caleb Williams, and Trevor Lawrence. Just looking at some numbers here. What other numbers here? Jaden Daniels, time to throw 2.35 seconds, which was the quickest in football in week 1. And then he had 2.33 seconds to throw in week 2. We're just going to look at this Eagles drive. I'm going to watch this Eagles drive here, guys. And then after that, I'll probably call it a night. These commercials have just been ridiculously long. I know it's Monday Night Football. This is what we got to prepare for too, man. Like long commercial breaks is what we got to prepare for this Monday Night Football game. Like, oh, dang, Devontae Smith just got lit up by AJ Terrell. Goodness gracious. He's got lit up. But, yeah, that's one thing we got to prepare for in this Monday Night Football game is a lot of commercials. And the Mannings will not be broadcasting our game for whatever reason. I don't really care. But the Manning broadcast will not be during our game. I think we're like the only game that the Mannings are not doing it. For whatever reason, I guess they just said, oh, it's the Commanders and they don't want to do it. But it is what it is. I'm not into the media stuff like that anyway. I mean, I kind of am and I'm kind of not. I do pay attention to it, of course. But, like, yeah, for whatever reason, the Mannings are not going to be doing doing our game on Monday. So we won't be seeing Bill Belichick and different guests and stuff like that. Jaden Daniels drops back. He evades the rush, goes to the outside, throws it as incomplete. This might be a low-scoring game. Goodness gracious, 0-0 in the first quarter. Oh, wow, 3-0 for the Eagles. 3-0 for the Eagles. All right, so no A.J. Brown, and they really are struggling. They really are struggling. Yeah, nobody was open on that 3rd and 4. So, man, I do want to see – I want to see what Kirk does in this last drive, and then I'll probably wrap it up, guys. I'll probably wrap it up. Eli would just talk shitty about us. That is true. That is true. He probably would. We're not getting much pressure off the edge. They definitely need to reactivate Jamin Davis. Yeah, I think so as well. I think they should too. Jamin Davis, he provides some pass rush, some explosiveness, and we need it. Cleveland Farrell's he got 2 sacks. Dorrance Armstrong hasn't really woke up yet. I haven't really seen him get a lot of pressures yet. So we need him to wake up because he was the big free agent. I'm not going to even say that he was like a big free agent signing, but he was like, he's supposed to be the best pass rusher on the team. He's the most decorated pass rusher on the team. And we haven't seen much from Dorrance just yet. All right. I'll see one play from Kirk and then call it a night. That's what I'm going to do. I want to see Kirk do something against this terrible Eagles defense. Because the Eagles, they got some talent on offense. So Kirk threw a pass to Drake London. It looks like a catch. But I think they're challenging it. So I'm going to wrap it up here because I'm just tired of sitting through all these commercials. This is ridiculous. It's been more commercials than football at this point, which is just ridiculous. But all right, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. DMV Crazy said, how big will it be if T. Higgins doesn't play? That will be a huge help, but Jamar Chase is still going to go crazy. And they got another guy on their roster named Andre Ezevis, who doesn't do much. They got Trenton Irwin. So, I mean, other than Mike Gesicki's going to cook us, though. Mike Gesicki's going to have a good game for sure. But that would be big if T. Higgins doesn't play. But Jamar Chase is still going to cook for sure. Because we don't have any answers for any wide receiver that is good or decent. And Jamar Chase is an elite receiver. Any receiver that has a pulse and that's talented, like, they're gonna cook us for sure. It's gonna be, but Ben St. Juice, like, I'm excited to see what Ben St. Juice does against Jamar Chase. I'm excited. Like, if Ben St. Juice wants to get paid, like, this is a big game here for him, man. This is a huge game for him because right now, Jamar Chase he had 4 catches against the Chiefs, and then the first game of the season he didn't have a good game either. He had 6 catches for 62 yards. So that's like a pedestrian game for him against the Patriots. He didn't really have a big game, so far. He hasn't had a big game. So this is like he's due for a big game. This could be the get right game for Jamar Chase. This would be what the doctor ordered for Jamar Chase. But yeah, if T. Higgins doesn't play, that would be a big help for sure. But you still got to watch out for Mike Gesicki and Jamar Chase, and our defense is just not good in general. But all right, you guys, I'm going to wrap it up and let you guys watch the game for sure. Make sure you guys always check out BetUS, 150% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000 with code YouTube150. Make sure you guys check them out. And Herz Commanders, left hand up, undefeated in Northwest Stadium. Herz Commanders, undefeated in the division as well. Herz to the Commanders. Should put my hat backwards like Dan Quinn. All right, you guys, Herz Commanders. Shout out to Austin Cyborg. Shout out to Jaden Daniels, of course, too. Herz Commanders. Peace.